What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another fight prediction video. This is going to be for LFA 104 McKenzie versus Phillips. So, as per usual, guys, I'm not going to touch the prelims, and as per usual, I doubt we can get action. So, we're going to go right into the first bout on the main card, and that is Obinwa Ikebana against Roland Dunlap. So, Ikebana, man, I like this guy. He lost his last fight to Hunter Colvin, which we talked about. That was at LFA 101. I was on Colvin for that one just because I thought he was going to be able to get it to the ground pretty easily and early and then just work his jiu-jitsu. Obviously, we know his jiu-jitsu background is serious. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. Rear naked choke about almost 3 minutes into the first round. But then he had a win on the prelims of LFA before that, and one other pro win. He's a good kickboxer, good Muay Thai. He's got some decent jiu-jitsu as well, but he's just drawn another really tough matchup here in Roland Dunlap. He had a really good amateur career, just one loss, and that was back in 2015. He has one pro fight, which he won. It wasn't really the greatest competition, I wouldn't say. But, he's got really good wrestling, man. He's big and long. And I just think that wrestling, once again, is going to be the downfall of Ikebana here. I think that Dunlap is going to be able to get it down and maybe get a TKO, look for a submission maybe, or just have a dominant, unanimous decision victory. So I do think that Dunlap is going to get it done here, and I do have a little bit of money on him at minus 185. So then if we just move right on up the card, we have Thomas Peterson versus Odell Pentin. And yeah, Peterson, man, is 3-0 as a pro. He has 2 fights in LFA. Both of them were first-round knockouts, and I think I smell another first-round knockout coming here. He has other LFA fights that were amateur fights, which he won all of. He has never lost. He's 5-0 as an amateur, 3-0 as a pro. So I think he's going to do it again in the first round here, man. Odell Pentin, he's got one win as a pro fighter and one loss. His win wasn't really against the greatest guy. His loss wasn't really against the greatest guy either. And, 2018 was his last bout. And he's coming in against Thomas Peterson here, who, yeah, I don't know. Peterson's like minus 700 right now. I think Peterson is, I'm very confident in this pick. I think he's probably going to get it done in the first round. I see him getting a knockout early, so that's going to be my pick on this card. We're going with Thomas Peterson for this one. Then moving on to Timothy Tevez against Javier Garcia. Now, I went back and forth on this fight a lot, man. These guys are making me earn my money this weekend. Tevez is 5-2. Garcia is 6-3. Garcia we saw very recently on LFA, but with regard to Tevez, man, I kind of liked what I saw out of him. I liked his fight on Titan FC. That was a split decision win. I had that one for him. I guess some of the judges saw it differently, but I thought he won that pretty easily, honestly, and it was a split decision. I thought it would have been unanimous. But then coming off a loss against Scotty Howe, and basically what happened in that fight was he looked good on the feet, and right away he got a takedown early, and I was like, oh, watching the tape, he's looking good here. But he just got taken down too much and got controlled too much in that fight. And coming up against Javier Garcia here, Garcia's coming off a win against AJ Cunningham on LFA 102, and I thought that Cunningham was going to get that done. But Garcia was able to just get it down at really opportune times and work some good control. And, he's not a scrub on his feet. He can throw on his feet. It's not like I think he's going to be super overmatched on the feet. But I just think that his fight IQ and his takedowns are going to win him this fight. I was on Tevez for a while here, but just looking back on it, man, I think Garcia is going to be able to get it down in the important moments and get control and just outpoint him, win some rounds. I think that Garcia is going to get it done by decision here. So that's going to be my pick. We're going with Javier Garcia. And we'll see if I can right my wrongs for picking against him on the last card in LFA 102. And then moving on to the next fight, we have Kelvin Rayford coming up against Chris Brown, Chris Breezy MMA. So Kelvin Rayford is 5-2. He's big. He's 6'3", pretty long, 35 years old. But in terms of competition, I just haven't seen it from him, man. His last one was against a guy who was 1-6. Before that, 2-1, 3-2. Lost to a guy who was 0-0. Beat a guy who's 1-2. lost to a guy who's 1-0, beat a guy who's 0-2. I'm just not seeing the competition. Like, I think he's good. He's got skills for sure. It's just like when you go look at Chris Brown, who he's fought, he's 5-3, coming off 2 losses. One of them was to Ignacio Bauman, who just picked up a win last weekend in the UFC. The one before that was to Carrington Banks, who you know is a good fighter. Carrington Banks is coming off a pretty good win on UAE Warriors. And his 2 losses were both on Bellator. One of them was to Mandel Nalo, who we just saw pick up another one. Really good fighter. I really like Mandel Nalo. We just saw him on Bellator. And Adam Piccolotti, who's another pretty good Bellator fighter too. So, I mean, I just feel like Chris Brown's faced way better guys and put up just a little bit better performances. You know, this won't be his first time on LFA. He already has a KO win on LFA. He's fighting out of Jackson Wink. You know, I don't think we really need to talk too much about who's training there and the expertise that they have at that gym. So I like Chris Brown here, and I also have some money on him at -115. So Chris Brown's going to be the pick in this one. I like him. I think he's a little bit undervalued in this fight. Calvin Rayford's legit for sure. It's definitely not a lock by any means, but I do like Chris Brown on this spot. Then Joel Bauman and Julien LeBlanc. So Julien LeBlanc, we most recently saw him fight against Damien Lapalus, and you know the Lapalus brothers are French, but they are also staples of Canadian MMA and that TKO promotion. And we just saw Lapalus pretty much do whatever he wanted to Julien LeBlanc in that fight, get it down easy, dominate it. I think there was a 10-8 round one of the judges gave him in that fight, so that was pretty much domination, man, and that was. You know, that was LeBlanc's real first test. You know, he was 5-0 going into that fight, and that was his first loss, and that was in 2018. So, you know, almost 3 years ago at this point. And then before that, he had some regional scene fights in Canada. You know, he had a fight in Gatineau where he won by first round knockout, but really not fighting the best guys. That was over a 6-7 fighter. And then Joel Bauman here. Had a fight against Jordan Young on Bellator most recently, who's pretty good. You know, Jordan Young's a good fighter, and then he was coming off 3 straight wins on LFA against all pretty decent guys, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 0 in amateur, and I just think he's going to be able to beat Julien LeBlanc here. I think he has a good chance to score a knockout here. I really like what I see out of Joel Bauman, and in that fight against Jordan Young, you know, he was in there definitely in a really tough matchup right there. There's no doubt about it. That was going to be tough anyway you slice it, Jordan Young. But he looked better than him on the feet. You know, he was quick, had good striking, good footwork early on. Obviously, you know, the footwork kind of failed him later on where he got taken down and got choked out eventually. But he basically just got caught there, you know what I mean? Like, he just got caught on the ground. It didn't look like he was getting dominated. He was leading for sure. Leading up to that on the feet, I really liked what I saw. So going into this fight against Julien LeBlanc, I really like what I see out of Joel Bauman, and I think he's definitely a solid player on this card, so I'm going with Bauman there. Then the co-main event, we have Carlos Candelario coming up against Yuma Horiuchi at 125, and this one, man, I really went back and forth on this one. Man. So Carlos Candelario hasn't fought since 2017, so that's a big layoff. He was scheduled to fight in September of 2019, so obviously he would have been training for that one. So we'll say the layoff was just from 2019 instead of 2017, because I do obviously, you know, he's putting in work in between that. But you know, pretty stellar record, 7-0, beating you know, not the greatest competition, but also pretty decent. You know, on CES, that's, you know, pretty decent promotion. Then he had a decision win on Dana White's Contender Series, where he was taken down by Ronaldo Candido a bunch of times. He got taken down a lot. And if I felt like Yuma Horiuchi was going to be able to come in here and take him down at will and control it on the ground, then this would be a different story, but I just don't know if Yuma's going to do that. However, there's a lot of stuff that I do really like out of Yuma. I like his stand-up. But if we're talking about Candelario, he's got really good stand-up too. You know, he's got good boxing, so it's really tough to call, and Horiuchi is only 23, and he's been fighting since 2013. Like, holy, he has a long career for his age. Like, that's insane. His last fight on LFA against Leandro Gomez, I thought you could have scored for him. It was a split decision. I thought he could have won, but at the same time, I don't know if he did quite enough. I'm not going to say it was a robbery or anything like that. Definitely, Leandro Gomez made a good case for himself there. So yeah, man, Candelario, I just think if I was confident that Horiuchi was going to be able to get it down at will, then this would be different. But on the feet, I think it's really close, and I don't know. I just don't see. I think it's close in all aspects, man. And I think Candelario might just have a little more volume, a little more power on the feet, and that's why I'm going to go with him. Tapology, the predictions for this fight is like a 90-some% for Carlos. Let me just check what it is. Yeah, 94% for Candelario. And he's got a good ground game too. Don't get me wrong, he's got good ground game. But I do think on the feet it's going to be maybe a little pronounced for Candelario there. I just like what I see out of him in terms of volume and picking his shots on the feet. So yeah, I've been convinced. I'm going with Candelario in this one, man. But 94% on him on Tapology, that's like really wide. I'm super surprised to see that because Horiuchi is really good, and it's not like he got dominated in his last loss or anything. He's only 23. He's going to be improving. So from a betting standpoint, this fight's going to be a pass for me, but the pick is going to be Carlos Candelario. And then moving on to the main event, we have Aaron McKenzie against Brandon Phillips. So you're probably somewhat familiar with both of these guys. Aaron McKenzie is coming off 2 really good wins on LFA. Looked real good in both of them. His last loss since 2017 was Chris Gonzalez, who we just saw on Bellator put on a dominant performance against Roger Huerta. And yeah, man, I think McKenzie's going to get it done. I like what I'm seeing out of him. He's been fighting recently. We haven't seen Brandon Phillips in an MMA bout since 2018. We saw him in some kickboxing bouts in 2019, but not really the same thing, man. Especially where Aaron McKenzie, I feel like, can get it to the ground and do some work there. So I like Aaron McKenzie in this one. I just feel like he's fresher, he's sharper, he's looked better recently. I just feel like he has all the tools to do this. I feel like he has the tools to stand. I feel like he definitely has the tools to take it to the ground, and I feel like either way I see it, I kind of feel like I see him winning this fight. So I'm going to go with Aaron McKenzie in this one. He's been good lately, so hopefully he keeps it up. So those are going to be my picks for this Friday, guys. And best of luck to you if you choose to bet it. Best of luck if you choose to bet Bellator, UFC, anything else going on. Best of luck if you choose to bet one championship tonight. Hopefully we make some money. And thanks for watching with me, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at LuckyLocksPicks. Have a great one, and take care. I'll catch you on the next one.